Flames Talk is brought to you by Molson, made from Canada. Beaches Quality Drywall, not just our name, it's our commitment. And South Centre Fine Cars, your Calgary Porsche dealership. The old schedule maker in the NHL, Grant, some people always like to say, you know what, for a team, the best thing to do in the early part of the year is go on the road. Gets them away from the pressures of playing home, it bonds them as a team, lets them play loose. I mean, there's that line of thinking where some people just say, hey, I'd rather be home. But you know, you get
every time you do a story with a team after they've been home for a while, yeah, we can't wait to get on the road. Then we can't wait to get home, cook it back in our own beds. So you hear both. I don't know. To me, it's a little bit of both at the right time. Home for a bit, road for a bit.
Depends how many single guys are on the team. Let's go on the road.
We're married guys.
There we go. Sorry, honey, we've got to go on the road.
But the Flames have had a pretty good schedule. They started most of their games on the road, didn't have much success. Came home for that 6-game homestand, which finishes this week against Vancouver. They've had some success. And the last game was it last Friday? Then they don't play again until Tuesday. But now, November, it changes drastically. So the Flames had a very good October. Now we'll see if fatigue, I think 7 of the next 12 days, they play games. That's a lot of games in 12 days, 7 games. 5 of those are on the road. I think we'll see if the Flames are any good. People saying it was an important homestand. Yes, it was to get back to normalcy. They did that. Now we'll see what they're made of on the road.
You know, you were, last time we were talking about the defensive style Brent Sutter puts in. Not a very exciting team, but Grant, when you don't have an overabundance of talent, that's what you have to do to win.
No, I don't disagree with that. I think Sutter's doing exactly what they have to do to have a chance to succeed.
Yeah.
But to me,
it's the equalizer.
It is the equalizer. And I do agree with the philosophy with this kind of team that come later on in the year. If you don't have the fundamentals down and your team's going nowhere. So if Iginla and Tanguay get going, which they haven't yet, Tanguay led the team in scoring when the week started. I assume him and Jerome will get things going. Jerome is terrible in October, but very good in November historically. If that happens, and they keep to this defense-first philosophy, which is boring but effective, Tanguay and Iginla get going, and Backlund comes back as their center, I think they're going to be okay.
You know, Grant, it always brings me back to Brett Hull. And,
it always brings you back to Brett Hull?
Well, because, you know, they say, oh, you know, Brett Hull and Phil Kessel, there's another guy. He never back checks. He never does this. He doesn't play in a disciplined defensive style. Who cares? Those kind of goal scorers are rare. You know, got other guys. You got grinders that can play that defense. Let these guys score. Maybe you got 3 lines that can come back. I
agree with you.
You still need that offensive spark.
Build your team around it. So if Iginla's not doing certain things that you want all players to do, don't let them. Make sure the other guys cover up for him and make sure Jerome is in the right spot to score goals. Brett Hull's a good example. Brett Hull has also said to me once after a game, I asked him after a game, he's just Brett Hull's pretty cool with him.
Oh, sure, yeah.
He's putting his shirt and tie on in the dressing room after a game, and I said, Brett, can I just get, I got to get going here. I said, of all 82 games you play in a season, how many would you say are exciting? 8. Want to think about it a little bit more, Brett? Because he didn't you know, most of them were just defensive first. Come on, Brett, back check. You're supposed to be in position A if the puck is over here. And he didn't like that. He thought 8. Mike, that's less than 10% of the games.
It is 10%, yeah.
So that was good. He was always, I thought Detroit used him the best as that trigger man from the slot. You know, he goes down to one.
Sure.
I thought he was good at that.
Well, see, that's the whole thing, Grant. I mean, do coaches not get into situations where they brand a whole team in one specific mold, as opposed to just saying, okay, this line is our scoring line. They're going to freelance. You know, you've got certain guys that play roles, and to me, sports is about identifying those role players. When Sandy McCarthy decided he wanted to be a goal scorer, he lost all of his effectiveness.
Out of the league pretty soon after
Pretty much, right? So learn how to play that role. So maybe you got one line that's a bit of a freewheeling line.
Okay.
And you're a defensive-minded
I don't disagree with you, but we just finished saying Brent Sutter's doing what he has to do to get this team to play boring defensive hockey, a team mentality. So I don't know what to think about that. I mean, to me, it's.
Well, with Iggy and Tanguay, I mean, David Moss and Morrison coming in back and forth. Is it because they haven't been set at center this year, do you think? Or is it?
They lack, yeah. I think that's a big problem. They have, I mean, who will Backlund be their centerman?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
But we've said this about Jerome Iginla for a long, long time, that he's never had this good centerman to be truly effective, and that's his problem. Daryl Sutter said to me, I was going to not name, but what the heck? Daryl Sutter said to me,
You name drop better than anybody.
Maybe it's time you guys stop saying, when is Jerome going to get a centerman? When's Jerome going to make those around him better? That maybe it's up to him to make whoever moves into that spot a better player. Not always say, why can't we get somebody to make Jerome a better player?
Well, I thought he did that last year, didn't you?
Yeah, I thought he did.
Yeah,
he does at times. He does at times. But I think that's always the argument sometimes, that we're always still looking. And I think that sometimes Jerome has to sort of branch out more and help others.
You wanted to bring one quick note in about TSN.
Yeah, TSN. One of my big knocks against the sports networks and a lot of media, Outlaw Sports in particular, no, TSN and Sportsnet, is that they do a great job covering sports, but what they lack are good stories. They don't go out and cover the country. It takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of time to have crews across this big country to do good stories. Yes, they do good pre-game and post-game stories and cover the events. But I applaud TSN for going to Grand Prairie this past week with Dave Naylor and doing a big story, not just during the Stamps game yesterday on Sunday, but earlier in the week on the Grand Prairie Warriors playing a football game, and 4 of their teammates had died in a tragic car accident. 1 was in hospital. Excellent storyline. I wish our sports networks could do more of that, sports stories from across the country. So I applaud TSN for doing that.
Yeah, it's very good.
Tired of going to redneck barbecues? Well, you better call Rocky Mountain Barbecue. Alberta barbecue cuisine at its best. Great tasting food, clean and efficient service. Check us out online or call Rocky Mountain Barbecue.